Hi, in this video I want to briefly talk about the different states that matter can exist in. This is very easy, really. There are three states, actually there are more, but for our purposes let's say there are three states in which matter can exist. For example, matter can be a solid. I'm pretty solid, you know, pretty much. Liquid, I'm not going to spit, but if I did, that would be a liquid. There are liquids all around us. Water. In fact, here's a little liquid right now. And of course there is gas. Right now there is gas in between me and the camera. There can be gas at other occasions I won't mention. But these are the three different states, basic states. There's also plasma, but you know, like lightning is made up of plasma, so I guess there are other states, particularly plasma, that we do encounter from time to time. But let's just say that there are three basic states in which matter exists. Now, at any given temperature, for example, when I first made this PowerPoint, it was 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of the time in science we use Celsius, but let's go with Fahrenheit because we're just starting out, right? This is the third video in this series. And so right now, when I made the video PowerPoint at 2:30 in Indiana in May, it was 74 degrees. And so at that particular temperature, and we're kind of I'm used to, as a human being, I'm used to the pressure I'm experiencing now. Pressure, you can feel less pressure, like if you go to Colorado or you go up into the mountains, the air pressure is lighter. You kind of can become lightheaded. If you have go scuba diving and you go down into the ocean, the pressure gets greater. But at any given temperature and pressure, a particular substance will be a particular state. So at the temperature here in Indiana, water is a liquid. And you know that water can, you can boil water until if you make macaroni and cheese, if you boil the water, eventually some of that water is going to escape, you know, into the air as gas. And if you freeze it, you know, it becomes ice. But at room temperature, what we call room temperature, and normal pressure, water is a liquid. Oxygen is a gas. There's oxygen in this air that I'm breathing, otherwise I'd keel over. On a plane, they have oxygen masks that come down. Oxygen is a gas. Of course, there's lots of different gases in the air that we breathe, not just oxygen, but there's nitrogen and there's carbon dioxide, which is a compound, and so forth. And then, of course, the chair I'm sitting on is solid, and I think, pretty much solid. If you run at me, you're not going to fall through me. And so those are the three basic states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas. Easy peasy, right? Chemistry's not hard. The boiling point of, say, water, or condensation point if it's coming from a gas into a liquid, every substance has a kind of boiling point, a point at which it, you know, becomes a gas or becomes a liquid, depending on which way the temperature is going. So if you heat up water enough, like making macaroni and cheese, it will boil and turn into vapor. It will become a gas. If you cool down water vapor enough, it will condense into a liquid. This is why if you're holding a glass of ice water in the summer, you're going to get wetness on the outside of the glass. That wetness on the outside of the glass isn't coming from outside the glass, from inside the glass. The condensation on the outside of a glass of ice water is coming from the water that was vapor in the air, and because of the ice water, it's condensing. It's becoming a liquid, going from being a gas to being a liquid. By the same token, the melting point of something is where it goes from being a solid to a liquid, or the freezing point of something is where it goes from being a liquid to a solid. Now, if you heat me up enough, please don't, if you were to drop me into a river of molten lava, I think I would pretty much melt. Ken would reach his melting point. Everything has a melting point. In the sun, basically everything has melted and become a gas. And so everything, so we're used to thinking that some things are solid and some things are gas and some things are liquid. And that's true, but it's only true at the temperature that we're used to, the temperature we're at. If you heat something up enough, it's going to become a gas. If you cool something down enough, it will become a liquid. In fact, If you look at the rocket taking off, a lot of times that's liquid oxygen very quickly becoming a gas. Oxygen becomes liquid at a low temperature, and so one of the reasons that they can propel that rocket up so strongly is because that liquid oxygen suddenly becomes a gas and it expands. It goes bam, and a gas takes up more space than a liquid does. So as that liquid oxygen rapidly becomes a gas, it pushes that rocket way up into the air, and so everything has a melting point. Everything has a freezing point. If you freeze water enough, it will turn to solid. Now, pressure also affects this. I mentioned that if you go up a mountain, the pressure goes down. If you go down into the bottom of the sea, the pressure goes up. A submarine has to have special features to keep it from just crumpling up like a tin can, which we don't have anymore. But anyway, so pressure affects the state of matter. In general, the higher the pressure, the greater the tendency for something to become solid, and the lower the pressure, the greater the tendency for something to become a gas. So, really easy. There are three basic states to matter: